This is Adam Baranek, and he's the worship arts pastor at Arlington Countryside Church.
I'm Adam Baranek. I'm the worship arts pastor here at Arlington Countryside Church.
Well, I'm Ashton Turner, the host of this episode of Worship Tech Tour, and for this episode, well, you guessed it, your smart cookie. I had the opportunity to go to Arlington Countryside Church just outside of Chicago, Illinois, to see what's going on with the worship tech setup there. This episode of Worship Tech Tour is brought to you by a sponsor, our sponsor, Churchfront, who's bringing to you Worship
Ministry
School, an online training program for worship ministries with online courses and personal coaching, but more details about Worship
Ministry
School later, so stick around to hear more about them, to hear more about us. Speaking of details, that is the most noticeable thing that you'll find Adam is good with. Every piece of worship tech that Adam has implemented is incredibly organized and serves an important purpose. Here are some quick things to note about Adam's setup. While Arlington Countryside Church has its own building, the congregation meets in a carpeted gym because the sanctuary actually got too small to suit the congregation's size. So Adam's setup is entirely based on solutions that accommodate a multi-purpose room. They play basketball in here. I mean, you have to be creative. But before we dive in, some things to look forward to learning about in this tech tour are the Waves LV1 mixer audio setup, countless organization tips, unique rehearsal techniques, and then whatever the heck this is. So without any further flabbergabbing, let's get into this episode of Worship Tech Tour, taking a look at every facet of Adam's church with audio, video, lighting, cameras, and more. Welcome to Worship Tech Tour. For all mixing needs, Adam uses the Waves LV1 system. The Waves system utilizes a local area network with the help of Dante to do all of the mixing, meaning that audio is sent to and from Waves over the Dante network, and all of the mixing is done virtually using Waves software. The coolest part about Waves, in my opinion, other than the fact that everything is extremely visual and controlled by touchscreen, is the use of Waves plugins. Waves has powerful plugins ranging from super high quality reverb to torque, which allows you to pitch shift the kick. Waves also allows you to swap to a virtual sound check with one button, assuming that you are recording with a digital audio workstation like Pro Tools. This makes it so easy to train new volunteers because they mix the live sound of the band that isn't actually playing live, and they get to learn all of the ropes without having to actually mix the live band. It's extremely versatile. For their physical audio setup, they have wireless microphones and in-ear monitors for each band member. The microphone system that they use is the Shure ULX series for the majority of the vocalists, while they also add wired Shure SM58s when they have more vocalists. And then finally, Adam has two Rode NGE2s for crowd microphones that are used to pick up the room sound. And this feed is not sent to the main PA speakers, but instead is used for the broadcast mix and for in-ear monitors. For wireless in-ear monitors, Adam uses the Shure PSM300s comboed with Shure SE215 monitors for every band member. Now, everyone has run into the earbud problem, right? Where members of the band swap monitors and share earwax together. Well, this has been proven to lead to increased team member cohesiveness. There is a better solution. Adam stores all of the monitors in a drawer without the buds on them. Anyone can use these at any time. Then, in little Altoid cases, each band member has his or her earbuds safely stored, and they just have to pop them on the SE215s that they are using. In-ear monitors are good for two things. They reduce stage noise with the absence of floor wedges, meaning that you can hear the band mix better since it's isolated in your ears. Simultaneously, you can craft your own mix to your preference. And then they also allow you to start using a click and guide along with backing tracks to fill the sound of your band and always stay on time. Now, the band itself utilizes a lot of cool tech. Adam uses a Line 6 Helix for all of his guitar sounds. The Line 6 Helix has a massive library of emulated sounds so that you can achieve practically any sound with one piece of gear. You can quickly and easily set up patches that can change with just the push of one button. So with one click, you can turn on and off different delays, drives, reverbs, and so on. It's an extremely powerful piece of gear that takes away the classic guitarist tap dance, so you can focus on leading worship, and it actually runs cheaper than a comparable analog setup. The keyboardist uses a Yamaha S90XS and keeps it simple. All of the pad and piano sounds come straight from the hardware in the keyboard. The bassist also has a simple setup with a fly rig. It has a few pedals on it like chorus, drive, and compressors with a tuner and one in and one out. It is a lightweight and all-in-one solution. Then lastly, let's talk about the drums. The drums themselves are on a riser that can be rolled. So when they have to set up and tear down, it's a multi-purpose room, remember? They simply just have to roll the drums in or out. The drummer uses Heartbeat Epic series cymbals, which according to Adam are larger and darker, so they take more time to get louder. They are less piercing than a lighter cymbal.
So they take a longer time to get louder, and because they're darker, they're not as piercing.
The whole kit is a Pearl World Series kit with Remo heads that have foam inserts that do a great job of muting the sound a little bit to keep drum volume down. And then apart from a wide array of random percussive instruments like this cowbell,
If he decides to randomly use it during rehearsal tonight,
the drummer uses a drum pad and is also responsible for running Ableton Live. The drum pad plugs into the Ableton computer and is linked with drum kits in Ableton Live. So for certain songs like Reckless Love, they're able to actually pull the sample of the kick and snare from the multitrack, and the drummer uses the pad to trigger that sound. Since these sounds are triggered from Ableton, they are also automated, meaning that the drummer doesn't have to change which kick sample is being used. Ableton just does it automatically. The same goes for the Helix sounds for Adam's guitar. Ableton is used for a wide variety of things on top of instrument automation. It fills the sound of the band with backing tracks and then keeps the band on time with click and guide cues. Adam also uses it to automate slide changes in Pro Presenter, so slides are always on time, and the volunteers running the tech booth can focus on the creative side of tech, like mixing sound and running lighting. The last piece to this audio setup is the tech booth, and you might be wondering, well, what's cool about a tech booth? Everybody has a tech booth. Well, the tech booth is actually fully mobile and self-sustaining. It's normally stored in a closet because, again, during the week, it's a multi-purpose room. They have to be able to move the tech booth around. So it is fully mobile, and it also plugs into the wall right outside of that closet, but it does have its own source of power. So if a basketball happens to hit the circuit breaker while worship is going, there's still audio and everything is still okay. I have been talking for a long time now, and God did gift me with a beautiful voice. But let's pass it off to Adam to look at the next part of worship tech, lighting.
for our lighting, we have some house lights that are controlled by the MPC software. So those are just hanging from the ceiling throughout the room. In the middle of our room, we have a truss that holds the projectors as well as our stage lights. So we have stage lights lighting different positions. So we have 2 coming from both sides to the center stage, 2 going to the downstage right, 2 going to downstage left, and then several spots on our lower portable stage that we pull out every week for the teaching platform. So our current stage design is basically just LED strips. Each of these strips are mounted to just pieces of furring strips, painted the same exact color as the back wall. So when you're standing in the room, it kind of looks like these are floating because they're just mounted on these pieces of wood that are the same color as the wall. But how I put this all together is I have these things I just found on Amazon, and you lay your LED strip inside of it, and you put a kind of a diffusion piece on the top of it, and it helps it so you don't see the individual LEDs as much. But I soldered a bunch of just ends on, so each end is connected through just this four lead wire, and it all goes into a box. And I built this little box that has just a DMX decoder and a DMX input and output on it with power, so we can just take that box and use it for future designs as well. But this is a really cost-effective way to have an interesting stage design that can change. It's not just a static stage design. And we also have this cross. One of our previous drummers actually built this and donated it to the church, and it's front lit, so it has LEDs in the front and in the back that are separately controlled. So you can see that the front lights are different colors than the back, and that's just a fun part of our stage design, but I also love that it keeps the cross at the center of our stage design.
I like to poke fun at him sometimes for being a nerd. He designed and built the majority of the lighting rig, which is so cool. He knew exactly what he wanted to implement, so he did it. Adam didn't create the software that runs the lights though. Developed by Martin, they used the MPC software on a Lenovo touchscreen that was flipped upside down to make it more ergonomically efficient for the volunteer running lights. The volunteer changes lighting scenes, typically one per song, and is also responsible for the broadcast recording and planning center live, but more on that later. For now, let's dive quickly into the video and display setup.
For projection, we use ProPresenter 6, and we run that through 2 of our main projectors, so on both house left and house right. And we have some screens that fold into the wall. Manually, it's just we fold it out and then we fold it back in because this is a multi-purpose room. The screens would get in way of different games that are happening.
There are 3 projectors in the room, all Ike WX5000s, with the last projector used for a confidence monitor just projected onto the wall. All slides and motion backgrounds are run through ProPresenter powered by a PC, with the confidence monitor set up to also include the Nashville number system, so that band members don't need any chord charts in front of them. The setup is pretty standard. The coolest thing about the video and display is the way that Adam runs test rehearsal. Using Chrome Remote Desktop, Adam connects from his office to the ProPresenter computer and runs Ableton, checks all of his slides, and practices his guitar sitting in the comfort of his own office. This is very helpful because then Adam doesn't have to wheel out the entire tech booth and get everything set up, but he can still know exactly how service is going to go as he rehearses and plans. Now, if you've made it this far into the tech tour, that can only mean one thing. You might be nerding out over all this gear. You might be. And we still have broadcast to cover, along with a few little solutions that Adam has to stay super volunteer friendly and organized. But you might be looking at this tech thinking, wow, I'd love to implement those things into my worship ministry. Well, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor to see how you can implement these things. Hi, I'm Ashton with Churchfront, and I'm here to tell you about Worship
Ministry
School. Worship
Ministry
School is an online program with courses on how to use things like ProPresenter, Ableton Live, live streaming, automating your Helix, what to speak and pray between songs, setting up a digital mixer, and so much more. You also get access to personal coaching from a member of our team to help you navigate your specific worship ministry context. And there's an online community of other worship leaders just like you that you can lean on as you grow your ministries together. So, if you want to learn more about Worship
Ministry
School, check out the link in the description to apply today. Hey, get out of here. Let's get back to the tour. Works for me. Cameras. You gotta love them. Adam uses a small Canon camcorder strictly for band review purposes or as a live feed for baptisms. They run power and a line feed straight from the Waves LV1 into the camera and then record onto an SD card, which Adam offloads and uploads to YouTube so that the band and speakers can watch it and get a feel for where they can improve. It's a super simple setup, but it is effective for its purpose. And then finally, Adam is extremely organized. I was astounded by the level of detail that Adam put into keeping everything neat and clean.
I love to have all these different drawers that have labels on them, not just for me. When I walk in and I'm looking for something and I want to save time during a rehearsal, I can just look at it and grab it, but also for volunteers. They aren't here every day in and day out the way that I am. So if they're only serving once a month or twice a month, they're not going to know where stuff is. So if it's labeled and I say, hey, can you grab an XLR or something like that, they can just run in here, see it clearly, grab it, and we're not wasting any rehearsal time looking for stuff. And of course, the most important part, my crowning achievement of the time that I've spent here so far, is this, the gaff ball. Every time we do an event or have tape on the floor and it gets pulled up, I throw it together on here. It's just kind of a fun way to see all the different things that we've done as a reminder of how far we've come. I don't know, it's just cool.
On top of the storage space, Adam keeps everything else streamlined. The stage itself has little Ethernet boxes that are labeled very simply and color-coded. If we take a look at this patch bay, it is extremely complicated looking. I really honestly have no idea what I'm looking at. Each cable is color-coded, and then with the Ethernet boxes on the stage, there's never any confusion about what each band member has to plug into. Then as band members plug into each box on the stage, every single cord is the exact length it needs to be to reach the instrument it is trying to reach. There's no extra slack when it comes to cables because Adam has intentionally organized all of the cables and even soldered some of his own to make sure that everything fits perfectly so that the stage looks super clean. Another thing that Adam uses is Planning Center Live. So during the service, a volunteer also runs Planning Center Live, which allows the entire team to know exactly what part of the service that they are in. There's no more stressed out bathroom breaks hoping that you aren't supposed to be on stage. Then on top of running Planning Center Live, the volunteer also has access to 2 different Elgato stream decks, which have buttons mapped to useful features like Spotify song changes or Pro Presenter slide changes. And then look at these tech booth drawers. This is custom laser cut foam to fit each microphone and piece of gear perfectly snug and cozy. I think that we all dream someday of having a system that is this organized. Now, I know that we have gone through a lot in this video, and well, there's a lot to take in when it comes to the worship tech setup at Arlington Countryside Church. But I hope you learned a thing or two from this tech tour and had a jolly good time while you were learning. And as always, if you would like to learn how to implement these things into your worship ministry, then please feel free to check out worshipschool.com, which is linked in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe. I know that it's easy to forget, and like the video. If you even once thought something like, I like this video during the course of this video, and you don't leave a like, I'm going to have to put you in detention. Hey, it's not up to me. These are just the rules. Thank you so much for watching this tech tour. We will see you in the next video.